Okay, good morning. Last time we finished the sampling theory. So any questions? Let me give you a summary first, right? Yeah. Sampling theorem means if you have an analog signal, you want to sample this and store the discrete value. Right? The sampling frequency is determined by at least twice the bandwidth of the signal or the highest frequency in the signal. Right? If your sampling frequency is faster, is higher than twice of the highest frequency, then you can use that interpolation formula to perfectly reconstruct the original analog signal. If your sampling frequency is less than twice, you can still use that formula to reconstruct something, but that will not be the correct result. Right? That is the sampling theory. So what's the problem? Questions? No? Right? Today we will continue this topic, but it's not sampling anymore. Once we sample, we get this discrete value. What we are going to do next? We are going to transmit this, right, through a communication channel. So we have basically two types of transmission. Right. Suppose we have this analog signal and we sample this. Now, once we get these discrete values, we have several ways to transmit. The first one is discrete over analog. That means these values are discrete, but we transmit these values through an analog channel. In this category, we have basically three methods. The first one is pulse amplitude modulation. The next one is pulse width modulation. And the last one is pulse position modulation. We are going to discuss one by one in detail. And the next category is discrete over digital. That means we are going to transmit these discrete values through a digital channel. And we are going to discuss the method called PCM, pulse code modulation, and some variations also. Right? Let me copy this. Once we get these discrete values, the first way is PAM, pulse amplitude. How to do this? And the method is at this sampling time. It looks like this is not uniform. I need to make this uniform. This uniform. And we are going to use a pulse, right? Like this one here. This. And this one here is like this. This one is this high. And this one is like this high. Or you can just think like this. Here, 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 and here, and here, and here. Technically, in the labs, if you do this, we have devices called sample and hold. Right? You sample at this time, then you hold for some time, some duration. That is the width of the pulse. Right? So we have a device to do this. So this is called pulse amplitude modulation. This is equivalent to, very similar to the analog modulation method. Which one of the three? AM, FM, PM. This one looks like which one? Where's the information? The information is in the amplitude, right? Because the width are all the same The starting point all the same, they are uniform. The information, which is the value of discrete sample data, is in the amplitude. If the data is large, the width, the height is the pulse height is amplitude is large, and it's negative, and it's negative like this. So that is very similar to AM. We discussed before. Right. So that is PAM. The next one is called pulse width modulation. That means the information of the data is in the width of the pulse. Right? So we continue this here. And this value, suppose we use this width here, and this one is larger than this one, so we are going to use a wider one. I exaggerate a little bit, so you can see this one is wider than this one. So this is width, this is width. And this one is smaller than this, or smaller than this, so this width will be smaller than this. And this one is even smaller, so maybe just like this. And this one is negative, okay, so then even smaller. And this is even more negative, then this is even smaller. Right? So that is the pulse width modulation. The information of the data is in the width of the pulses. All the pulses have the same height, have the same starting edge, but they have different width. And this one is similar to the analog modulation, is PM. Right? And the next one is called the pulse position modulation. And I go like this. Suppose this one is modulated like this, then this one is larger than this one. So our position, the starting position of the starting edge will be changed with respect along with the amplitude. So this one is larger, then I can make this one to the left. So the starting, look at this one, suppose to start from here, then this one will start from this point. This one. Starting earlier. And this one is smaller than this, so it will start from somewhere, for example here. And this one is even smaller. So it will start from somewhere here, and this one will be here, and this one will be start here. So the position of the pulses have the information of the sample data. All the heights are the same, all the widths are the same, only the position, starting position are different. With reflects the amplitude of the sample data. And this one is similar to the FM we discussed before. So that's very simple, right? Okay, now we discuss some advantages and disadvantages. How about this one? So as we said, this is very similar to AM. What's the benefit of AM? It's very easy. We just use multiplier to do it, right? So multiply the baseband with the carrier signal. And this one is the same thing. As we mentioned minutes ago, we can just use a sample and hold, then we get the PM signal. But the disadvantage is, anyone can mention, what's the disadvantage of AM modulation? Why we do not use AM a lot? For example, we only use it for talk shows, not music. What's the problem? And because the amplitude can easily get disturbed by the noise. Okay, if you do like this, okay, that noise will added to the amplitude, so we are going to change the baseband, demodulated baseband information. Right? So this one, the noise property is not good. How about the PWM? First one, we don't care about noise because all the amplitude are the same, right? And also they have the same starting edge. So that means the synchronization is not important. If it is starting a little late, we don't care because the information is not in the starting edge, it is in the width. If we can keep the width the same, then even this one is deleted, for example, here, we can still demodulate the exact information. Right? Because if we do not change the width, then that's okay. So we don't care about the synchronization between the transmitter and the receiver. Right? But we know the information is in the width. That means, for example, if this value is large, then this one will be wide. If this one is small, then this one will be very narrow. So what problem is this? If we want to transmit these pulses, all these pulses have the same height. So the power of the transmitter is proportional to the width. For example, you just transmit 5 volts here, no matter how modulated signal. This one will need to transmit a longer time. This one need to transmit a shorter time. So the power here is larger than this one. When you buy this equipment transmitter, you need to consider the power. How much power you need to transmit. Suppose in some special case, for example, all the values are very small, like this. All the values are small except there's only one bit. All the values are small except this one is very large. That means this pulse is very wide, all others are very narrow. But you want to transmit the correct all of this one, the power must satisfy this widest one. That means you need the transmitter to be able to deal with a large power. And we know when you buy a transmitter, if the power is large, for example, you double the transmitted power, the cost can be not only double, maybe double squared. For example, if you said the transmitter is 1 watt, need $1,000, then 2 watts definitely not $2,000. 10 watts definitely not 10,000, maybe 5,000, maybe, or even close to 100. So that's not just multiply. So we want to reduce the power as small as possible, or at least keep that uniform. So this one is not good for power consideration. That means it's not power efficient. If you very care about the transmitter's power, then do not use this. But this PWM, anyone has seen this word before? Right? You know that, okay, if you deal with controls motors, you may already know this word, right? This word, PWM. This one you already use the drive to step motors. Right? If you have a wider width than this motor, more power, okay, drive faster, or this is smaller. So you can use this digitally control your step motor. So that is a popular way to do this. Right? And this one is pulse position modulation. Now the information is in the position. That means the synchronization is important. If you transmit this delayed after some time, that means the position is changed. That means the information is changed. So that is not good. The good thing is all the width have the same width. All the pulses have the same width. So all the power requirement is very low. It's very power efficient. And also all the amplitude are the same, so we don't care too much about the noise. So based on different applications, you can choose different schemes. We don't discuss too many details on this part, right? And the focus for this class is the next one, PCM. That is the focus for today. Pulse code modulation. What does that mean? Alright, so here, suppose we have sampled data. Alright, we just made up some numbers. This one equals 8.6, this one equals 9.8, this equals 5.5, this one is negative 1.4. Okay, for example, we get this all sampled data. We are going to convert this one into an integer. We use the rules of round to even. For example, this one we are round to 9, this one we are round to 10, this one we are round to 6, okay? We round to even. And if this one is negative, 1.4, so negative 1, and so on. This is called digitalization. Once we get this, we are going to convert this into binary, binary code. For example, if we use 4-bit, what is 9 in 4-bit?
0, 1, 0, 1. No, 1, 0, 0.
1, 0, 0, 1, right? That is 9. And this 10 will be equal to 1, 0, 1, 0, like this. Right? So we can convert all the decimal integer into a binary. The next one is we just use the pause to implement this one. For example, 1, 0, 1, 0. That's 1, 0, 0, 1. Very easy way is just 1. You have pause, nothing, nothing, and 1, like this. So that's 1, 0, 0, 1. 1, 0, 0, 1. You transmit like this. That means we transmit 9. That means we transmit this. Right? So that is called postcode modulation. Does it make sense? Okay, now we are going to discuss the details how to do this PCM coding. First one, we do not exactly use this 8.6. Instead, we are going to use the process called quantization. Right? So now I'll use an example to show this. Suppose I have an analog signal like this, and that is represented by GT equals A times the cosine omega t. Very simple, trivial. We do not transmit this cosine functions usually, right? I want to convert this one into an n-bit PCM. Step 1, I need to sample this. Right? So we need to know a sampling frequency. How fast should I sample this signal? So for proper later time reconstruction, how fast should I sample this one? The sampling frequency. That is what we discussed last time, sampling theory. And we summarize at the beginning of the class. How fast should we sample this? I'll give you an analog signal, a cosine omega t. You want to get some like discrete values. The later time from these discrete values, you reconstruct the original analog signal. Question is how fast you should sample this analog signal. Anyone? This one not even worth a bonus point. How fast should we sample it? In the CD, we know the sampling frequency equals 44K. Why is it 44K? How fast should we sample the voice? How fast should we sample this one? 2 times bandwidth, yes. Right? So it will be 2 omega. Right? This frequency equals omega, so we just use 2 omega. At least this large. This is called sampling Nyquist frequency, right? But we know this is hertz, this one is radians per second. So you divide by 2 pi. Right? But this one is not, we can use omega s here. Right? We can use omega s. That's not important. Omega s equals 2 omega. We use at least as fast as twice this frequency to sample this. Once we get the sample data, then we can construct from this sample data. So that's the step 1. That is the theoretical Nyquist frequency. In real life, you may say, okay, 10% more, like in a voice. Instead of 40, we need 44.1K. Maybe like 20% more or 30% more. So the actual sampling frequency depends on your requirement. This one is the minimum. Right? That's the second. We want to use the n-bit of PCM. That means, in this example here, it said this n equals 4. If we use n equals 4 binary, how many different numbers can we represent? If you use only 1 digit binary, how many numbers can you represent? Different 2, right? 0 and 1. 2 digit, 4. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. 4 digit? 16, 2 to the 6. Okay, so now n is this. So the number of different levels, or different states, or different numbers we can represent is 2 to the n. So that means the maximum and between a and negative a, we need to divide this whole range from a negative a to positive a into 2 to the n or l different numbers. Right? So we call this one resolution. The distance between each level is called resolution, and we use r to represent this. So the r will be, what is the resolution? Like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. So we have totally L different numbers. So the total length from negative a to positive a, that is 2a, and divided by, here, there's a little variation. Some books use, we start from here and all the way to here, then that will be 2 to the n minus 1. Like this one, for example, this one equals 0, this one will be 15. So you have only 15 different segments instead of 16. So that's 2 to the n minus 1, L minus 1. But some use, like in the middle, from here, 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 it will not touch to the top, is here. So in that case, that will be 2 to the n. I use 16. But that's minus 1. Usually the n is large, for example, 16. 2 to the 16 equals, how many is 2 to the 16? 65k, right? 64k. 65, 7, 6, 8, or something. Minus 1, that error is very small. So minus 1 or not, we don't care too much. So we just put this one here. Alright, that one will approximately equal to, we ignore this one here. This 2a over this one, so that will be a over 2 to the n minus 1. So that gives us the quantization resolution. That means this one is this is r here, this is r here, this is r here, and this is r. All this segment is separated by a distance r, which is the resolution. Does that make sense? So that is the second step. You need to find the resolution. The third one, once you find the resolution, you already know this value, for example, equals 8.6. How to find this value 8.6? For example, I'll give you this one. Gt equals A, for example, equals 10, cosine omega, for example, equals 100 t. I want to know what is the sample data when t equals, for example, 1 second. This one, Gt equals 10 times cosine 100 t. I want to know the sample data when t equals 1 second. Maybe 8.6. How to get this value? That's very easy, right? You plug this t equals 1 into here, then you calculate this. Suppose we get that one equals 8.6. That's how we get this. The next one is you use 8.6, or maybe some more. We put some more here, more accurate. And then divided by the resolution. Divided by the resolution, we convert this decimal, this analog discrete values into this, try to digitize this. So then we get something, and we round this one to an integer, to someone like an integer. Suppose r here equals 0.1. I just made some number. Suppose equals 0.1, then this one will be equal to, what is it? 8.6 something divided by 0.1 equals what? 86 equals 86.123. Now we round to integer to even, so this one will be gone, so that's one equals 86. Make sense? The next one is the PCM code. We just convert this one, 86 binary, decimal, then into a binary something. What is 86 in binary? .
86
The first one is 64, right? 64 is how many digits? Where's this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this 64?
Yeah.
Okay. 32. Do we have 32 there? No. Okay. So 86 minus 62. So we have 22. So we don't have 32. So this one is 0. What was this one? 16, right?
1, yeah.
So we have 1 here. So we have 6 left. Do we have 1 here?
No, that's 8.
This one is 64, 32, 16. This one equals 8. Now we have 6 left here. Do we have 1 here? No, we have. This one is 4. Do we have 1 here?
Yeah.
1. And this one,
2. Well, you got code spaces low.
what's wrong here? 64, 86, 22, 22, nothing, 6. This one 0, 6. Okay. 6, we have 2 left.
2.
32.
1.
2, there's 1 here, right?
Yeah.
There's 1 here. So that one is 1, this one equals 0. Right? So you know how to do this, right? Okay, convert this decimal into a binary, so that's it.
Right.
How many digits here? We have 7, maybe. But suppose if n equals 12, the n usually is a multiple, is power of 2. For example, if n equals 12, how to do that? We need to put a large bunch of zeros before that to make that exactly n digit. So that's all. Any questions on this? Before we use the example to show this. It's good? Right. Now let's see, before the example, we want to discuss some errors. Right? We have some quantization error. For example, here, we said 8.6 something. When we divide it by this r, we round to 86. So we have definitely have error here. What is the maximum error here? Right. First of all, for example, what is the extra error at this step? That is called quantization error. This part is called quantization error. What error is this? This error, because it's 86, but this part is gone, so the error is 0.123r. That is the quantization error, right? Because the actual value equals 86.123 times r, but we only use 86r, and this part is gone. So this gives us the quantization error. Any questions on that? What is the maximum error at that step? This 0.123r is our actual value for this example. What is the possible maximum error for this quantization step? You look at this. You look at this diagram. What is the maximum?
P, A, the amplitude.
The maximum error. For example, you have some value here, right? Suppose the value is here, right? Equals suppose 6.7 and 3.2. You round to some integer, so definitely you have error. What is the worst case? That means give us the maximum error.
0.999r.
Close, I think 0.5r, right? Because, for example, if your value is in between here, you either round to this or round to this. If you said 0.99 means very close to this, then you are going to round to the top. If you said 0.99r, you do not round down, you round up, so the error is 0.01 instead of 99. You choose the closer one, right? So the maximum error here is, you can see, when this value is right in between the two levels, right? So that is 0.5r. So the maximum error is 0.5r. And usually they are less than 0.5. And it will be uniformly distributed between 0, no error at all. For example, the value is on this level, so there will be no error. And from 0 to 0.5. And we use uniform distribution. That means can take the same probability between 0 and 0.5. Huh? Any questions on this? Everything's good? Okay, next I will give you an example and let you do this. We already showed the steps how to do this. Example, we want an analog signal. Xt equals 10 times cosine 100t. Just this one. Is to be linearly quantized. What does linearly mean? Means uniform distribution. All the gaps, all the separations are the same. Definitely later time, next class, we are going to discuss called non-uniform quantization. When we choose different separations for different values, that is not the story we are going to discuss later. But for today, we only use a linear, uniform quantization. Linearly into 4-bit, so n equals 4-bit. The requirement is find the PCM code at t equals 1 second. Okay, now you do first. Step 1. Everybody understand the question, right? You are given this ideal analog signal. What I want is when you sample this signal at t equals 1 second, you get the sample data. I want to convert that data only one, right, into a 4-bit PCM. So step 1 is you need to know what that value is at t equals 1, right? So tx when t equals 1, x1, or we said t equals 1, doesn't matter, right? T equals 1 second equals what? It's very easy, but based on my experience, somebody cannot do this. I have given homework on this, but at least this, each semester there are some of you cannot do this. What is this value? How to do this? Just plug in, as simple as just plug in. So equals 10 times cosine 100. Okay, now if you have calculator, calculate what is this. .623, right? 8.623 and something. Everybody get this?
No.
No? Okay, so now we have questions. Double check if this is correct.
I'm getting negative 1.7.
You get a negative 1.
1.7. Do we know that? Oh, yeah.
This 100 is in radians, right? Do not use angle. That's the first point. We need to be careful. So what is it?
8.623.
8.6. Okay, somebody second you. Yes?
8.62.
8.6. This is correct, right? Everybody got this? What's the next one? What to do next? We already know we want to convert this value into the 4-bit PCM. So now we make this our objective a little bit clear. Find the R. Yes, perfect. Find the R. The R equals what?
The error.
That is the level, right? Because 4-bit equals 16. The R means the resolution here. Right? Here, because the as we said, if n is large, then that's 2n minus 1 or 2n. That makes no much difference. But because this n here is small, so if you choose this one or you choose this one, you are going to give us totally different result. It looks like totally different. So we stick to the formula given in the slide. Right? The formula is use 2 to the n minus 1. Right? So the r equals, we said we use 2 to the n minus 1. Right? Again, for large n, minus 1 or not, no much to say, but I suggest you, in our class, you still use this one. Some other book may ignore this, so we use this one. Keep in mind, we use this one, 2 to the n minus 1. Otherwise, you are wrong. What is on the top?
10. Well, 2 times 10.
2 times 10, right? Yes or no? Hello? Over there? What is on the top? This is how you do this by yourself, one by one, step by one. So you need to do. You need to know everywhere. What is on the top?
6.
Huh? 6. 8.6.
It's 2 times.
Somebody says no.
It's 2 times 8.
It's 2 times 8.
Yeah, that's probably 10.
2 times
2 times 10, right?
Yeah, that's 10.
Everybody get it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 20. Look at this. Right? Somebody mentioned in the midterm of the last question, okay, you cannot find anywhere in the slide. That is totally not true. Right? All the homeworks, all the midterms, or even final everything, right, will be in the slide, right, in the textbook. I never give you a surprise. I stated this very clear at the beginning. All the questions, you can find the solution or find the way to get that solution from what we discussed in class or in the slide. We may not have time to discuss every point in the slide. That means we may not discuss in class, but it is in the slide. So it's your work to read the slide, to read the textbook and everything, ask me questions. We have videos here, right? Posted on YouTube. How many times? Okay, let me ask, how many minutes have you watched the video?
It's on YouTube.
Not a lot, okay? It's very honest, okay?
No, I said a lot.
You said a lot, okay, that's good. I will going to ask, how many minutes have you watched the videos, the class videos?
How many minutes?
Yeah, how many minutes? I don't say how many times. You claim, oh, the video is there, then you close. That doesn't count. How many minutes?
The view say itself.
I ain't keep track of the time frame.
Approximate.
5 minutes.
5 minutes total, right? We have like 10 right now. 5 minutes. So each one on average is 30 seconds.
100 seconds.
The YouTube can give me all these analytics. Right?
Yeah,
Not too much. Like 5 minutes for total on average. That is. So I have a conclusion that almost all of you never watched the video.
No, I can't say that.
The data is there, right? On average, like 5 minutes.
He's saying that we're recording it.
So this is a hard class. So watch the video if you cannot understand, and also ask me questions. Right? I have other online classes. They send me millions and millions of emails, ask me questions, and they have a class discuss on Canvas also. Right? A lot of questions on each homework questions, the textbook and the lecture notes. And some other class, for example, 101, they have study groups. They said they use a group, the software or something, apps, to form a group. They ask questions about, how about you? You are seniors, juniors. You should be more experienced than them. Do you have any study group?
Yeah, we got grouping going on.
You have a group, right? When I teach CET316 face-to-face, they have a study group that they meet somewhere every week, like for 2 hours. They just find some space, then just everybody there study. In my syllabus, I said, homework, you can cooperate, right? Just do not copy. So discussions help each other is encouraged. So do this, otherwise, this is hard. You do not as we mentioned before, this is a 2-hour class. You need to spend at least 4 hours after the class each week. All right, so this 20 over this one equals
1.33.
okay, 1.33, so equals 4 over 3, right? So that's 20, this is 15, so equals 1.333. I suggest, that is a good, very good experience, is you do not round at this point. You say, okay, 1.33, we don't know, because we are going to find that, that number here to round. Right? If you round at this point, you may get close but not accurate. So I suggest you just use 4 over 3 at this point, because this is not the final value.
So just put it over 3.
Yeah, just use 4 over 3. Right? Use only rounding at the last step.
Okay.
Okay, what's next? You can copy, right? What's the next one?
Oh, you put it over R?
Okay, something over R, right?
Yeah.
That is called a digitalization. So what over R?
What is 8.6 up there? Like,
What is this? This is just the value, the discrete
No, I'm
value.
talking about this 8.6.
That's one just the example.
Oh.
I just give you random numbers.
Oh, that was right.
It happens to be like this. I don't know. Forget all this, but only use the formulas, the ideas.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Don't copy the numbers.
8.6 and the 23 over R, like what?
Okay, perfect. So here, that's why we are going to use 8.623 over R, right?
No,
Over
that's what I'm saying. How would we get that number? Like, how you gonna just?
this number?
Oh, that's that number?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Over here, how is that number there? Like, what is that number?
I give you this number. I don't know. I just give you randomly. It happens to be like this.
Oh, 8.6 was from over there.
Yeah, that here is from here. I said that we discussed this one, so that's why I put the 8.6.
I know what I'm saying, like for the formula purposes, what is that? Like
This
what
one is the value, is the discrete value that we want to convert into PCM. For example, here, once you sample this one, you can convert this one into PCM. So you need to use this value. Then for this one, you need to use this value. And this value, this value, this value, this value.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You see how they say 2A, right, over
Yes.
2N minus 1?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
The A is the maximum.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you like, you see how that's in a formula state? What is that 8.6?
8.6 is the discrete value we want to convert into PCM.
So that's gonna be given.
This one is given. I said this one is 8.6. This one, I only tell you I want to convert the value when t equals 1. You need to find out from here by yourself.
Okay, I got you.
Makes
That's all I
sense?
need to know. All right.
Alright?
Yeah.
And in real life, you are not doing this only easy one. You need to do a lot. How a lot? In each second, for example, the voice, you need to do 44.1,000 these samples, right? In each second, you can know. You don't use the hand. You need the computers.
Sound like
In each second, you need to do 44.1,000 these samples. And for each sample, we do like this. So here, 8.623 divided by R, and this one will be plugged into this as R, and this one value, or you can directly use this one to make this more accurate. Right? You can use this one, but I think we have this accurate enough. Right? So what is the value here? Who has a calculator? This one or R? R is this. Everything is given.
6.47.
6.47 something. Oh, this is called a digitalization process. Right? And we want this one to be rounded to an integer. And we convert that integer into binary. So this one will be approximately equal to, we use rules round to even. And we can use round up, we can use round down, but in this class, everybody use round to even. So equals what? What?
6.46.
6.46. We round to integer.
Oh, it's 6.
What is it? 6. Okay? That's it. 6. That is the decimal 6.
Good job.
What's next?
Convert to binary.
Convert this decimal 6 into a binary. Okay? So the PCM is, how many digits do we have?
4.
We need to have 4, right? Right? Because we said n equals 4. Now convert this one into 4-bit of binary. What is it?
0, 1, and 0.
0, 1, 1, 0. That's it. That is the PCM we already get. Right? So for this value here, it's like this. This is a cosine function, right? Cosine function like this. Right? At 1 second, maybe equals at this point, and this value equals 8.6 something. And we convert this one into 4-bit of PCM, that will be 0, 1, 1, 0. Right? In the labs, for example, if you how to implement this, I want you to draw the diagram of this one. So it's 0, 1, and 1, and 0. You can read 0, 1, 1, 0. Right? Any questions on this? Okay, now let me give you ask you a question. What is the quantization error here? No? Error, what do you calculate this? What is the quantization error? We cannot exactly convert this real number into binary. Definitely, binary has a limited value. So what is the quantization error?
0.5.
0.5, that is the maximum 0.5R, right? Because it depends on the resolution. 0.5R is the maximum possible. What is the actual error here for this example?
0.47.
Okay, yes. So that will be 0.47 R.
R.
Right? 0.47R is the actual quantization error. So the quantization error will be 0.7R, then you plug into R, then you get that value. Does it make sense? Alright. Now let me ask this one. This one is the PCM code. What does this code actually represent? We want this one to represent 8.6 something, right? So what does this actually represent?
6.
Represent 6. What voltage does this represent? This one is unitless, right? Use voltage, the unit for resolution is voltage, is volt, so that's unitless. So what does this 0, 1, 1, 0 actually, what voltage does this actually represent?
60% of
60% of what?
10.
Of 10, 60%. How you get that? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Right? We want this number to represent 8.623. That is what we want, right? Now we know we have some errors. So what does this number actually represent? Ten. Can I explain how you get 10?
I only said that because
I asked you all these questions to help you to understand the process. If you very clear about what we are doing here, then you should be able to answer this question. What does this represent? What that quantization error? What all these error levels and everything? So what this 0, 1, 1, 0, what voltage does this represent? We want this to represent 8.623 something. look at this procedure, these lines. The answer is in this line, is somewhere. Huh?
What you ask?
My question is, what voltage does this PCM code represent actually?
DC, 15 volts.
What is it?
15 volts.
15. We want to represent 8.6. You said if this represents 15, then our error is way too large, right? We want to represent 8.6. You said this one represents actually 15. That's not that bad. You think 10 volt, 12 maybe.
C.
Huh?
C.
What is it?
C.
6. Okay, I can see where you get this 6. 6 is here, right? Yes? At least you are halfway. Eh? Much better than this other. So that's a 6. It's related to 6.
And divided by?
No, not 10 divided by 6. 10 divided by 6 equals 1.6 something. Again, we want 8.6. You said this is 10. 1.6, that's too little.
10 divided by 8.
He already gave you the hint. 6. Not very correct. Right? But definitely you need this 6. So I said he is halfway. Can get half credit. Nobel Prize, he already gets. We need somebody else for you to get a Nobel Prize. Okay, so what is it?
6.
6.
6.4.
6 what?
6.47.
6 volt? No, not 6 volt. I'm helping you to do the homework. Right? In the homework, you are going to discuss.
You can either do 6 or 6 do 6.4.
Everybody heard what he said?
No, what he said, repeat that one more time.
Repeat.
6R.
6R. Yes or no?
Oh, you gotta multiply the time.
Multiply by the resolution. Yes or no?
6
So look at this one.
R.
This one is what we want to represent, 8.6. So if we do this correctly, you should represent a 6.47 R, right? Because this one equals this.
Okay.
But actually we round to 6. That means we're representing 6 times R.
It's equal to 8.6. Okay, yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So we actually just represent 6R. We just threw away this 0.47R. That is the quantization error here. We want 6.47R, and we use this one as error, because this is the error. Then we have only 6R left. So that is the number we actually represent with this 110. So what is this? How large is this voltage? How large is this? You know R, right?
8.6.
8.
8.
Yeah, it's 8.
This one equals 8.
24.
Everybody got this? R equals 4/3. 4/3 times 6 equals 8. So that means we actually want to represent 6.47R, which is this, but after the rounding, we can only represent 6R, which equals 8. So the quantization error is in unit of R, it will be 0.47R, which is in voltage. How large is the error in voltage? We have more and more questions.
0.47.
4.7, that is unit is R, right? We want to represent this R, but we actually represent 6R. So this is 47R is the quantization error. I ask, what is the error in voltage? In voltage?
0.626.
6.23.
0.623.
Yeah.
Make sense? If you plug this one, 0.47R, then that equals 623, 0.623. Now, feel better? This is the voltage we want to represent. In terms of resolution, it should be 6.47. We want to represent this, but we can only round to integer, so actually we represent 6R, which is 8 volt. The remaining part is the quantization error.
So it's over the normal, maximum error, 0.5.
The maximum error does not apply to here. Right?
How not?
Because this one, like I said, the maximum error is if your number is right in the middle between these two levels, it will give you maximum error. But if, for example, if the value is here, then you have no error. So our example, this value is not right in the middle. So but it's very close to the middle because it's 4.47. It's very close to the maximum.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
It's good?
Yeah.
Can I give you a test?
Yeah, on that right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Can you?
That right there.
Can I give you a test like this?
Yeah, you can write a problem right now. I'll do it for him. Come on with it.
Everybody say yes?
Man, this nigga crazy.
Let me see.
He just went over.
Let me see your face. Yes, can you take the test?
Yes, right now. You can give me my
Looks like
question.
Yeah.
this guy is very confident. I can conclude he knows it.
This guy.
How about you? Yes, this is the number.
Bro, I'm gonna make.
Corey, how about you? Can you?
Yeah, I can work, man.
You can, right? You can? Everybody? How about you? See? That means we already do this. Then you don't have any problem doing the homework. The homework may be not exactly like this. I cannot do that, right?
Oh, so you switched it up.
Oh,
But you already know the procedure and all the concepts.
that ain't what you said.
Okay, for example, let me ask you, what is the minimum number, minimum voltage that can be represented by this scale? I ask you this.
1.01.
What is the minimum voltage other than 0
Say about
can be represented by this scale?
6.
1.
Correctly, without any error. What is the minimum? Can you represent a negative 10 with this one? For example, we can represent 8, right? What's the next higher than 8?
Oh, minimum. So it should be.
So we understand the question, right? We can correctly represent 8 volts, right? Because 6, 1 minus 0 means 8, correctly. What is the next higher level than 8 can be represented without any error?
16.
No.
This is 6.
10.
No, 15.
6, so 12.
See, I asked you questions. You should get this from here.
Huh? Is the highest.
1.3.
So 8 is the lowest voltage that we can represent. Wait, no.
So first of all, let me ask you. We can represent without any error the 8 volts, yes or no?
Yeah.
And with the 6, right? 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 to represent 8 volts.
Yeah.
8 plus 1.
My question is, what is the next higher voltage we can represent without any error? So you know what I'm asking for, right? This 8 we can represent without any error. It's already here. What's the next one?
8 plus 1.
14 or something?
What's the next higher voltage can be represented without any error?
16.
Huh?
16.
10?
16. Oh.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. He got lost.
He said 8 plus R.
8 plus R.
He said 8 plus R. R equals like a 1.33 something. So that's 9.33. Next one is can be correctly represented is 9.333.
We can't represent.
That's what he
it
said.
Without error.
Yeah, without error.
So the minimum voltage would be 0 plus 1.
That's what he said. Yes or no?
I don't know.
No? No, I agree with you.
ET was there.
Yeah, you ain't teach me that yet.
I agree with you.
Boy, you ain't teach me that.
Yes or no? So look at this one. This one is 6. What's the next one? Next one will be 7. 7R. Is 7R equals 8 plus R?
8 plus R.
Is 7R equals 8 plus R?
Let me see.
You're kidding, right? 6R.
Yeah.
7R equals 6R plus R. 6R equals 8. We already know that. 6R equals 8. So that is 8 plus R.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You ain't really representing R as what it stands for. You just putting it as 1.
1 is for this.
But that ain't really what it is, though. You done gave it its own meaning.
What do you mean?
R is supposed to be 4/3.
Yes, R
Okay,
is
but you got it as just 1.
1 is for this number, for this digitalization, not the actual voltage. This 6 or this 7 is unitless. It is multiples of R. You see, this one over R equals 6. You cannot 6 volt.
I got a question.
Yes.
Okay, if 6R is equal to 8, how is 7R equal to 8?
Because
That ain't right. It's
equals
supposed to be
8
9.
plus R. That's
It's
what
supposed to
we
be
said.
9R.
8 plus R.
That's
Yeah, equals 9, equals 7R.
7R is equal to 9.
Right.
No,
8 plus
7R equals 9.333.
No, it's just 9. You taking off
Ask
the
the
3.
lady over there. She will tell you.
You don't even represent that no more.
You gotta add one, you gotta multiply.
Whenever you multiply 4 divided by 3.
I know it's 1.33. I'm just saying he not using that 1 point. See, you see where it's 6 is equal to 8? You don't got 8.333, you just got 8.
Yeah, 6R is equal to 8.
Wait,
6R equals 8. Right?
Where's the
You
0.333?
ain't added it
In
up.
R.
You gotta drop this.
There is a year for a calculator.
I'm saying it's supposed to be 8.33, right?
No. See? Everybody said
That
no.
one automatic.
6 times?
Okay,
It's
okay.
automatic.
Any questions on this? I know you have questions. Except the except the Brooks. Anyone have questions on this?
Man, why you swearing, bro?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Okay, now let me ask, what is the minimum voltage other than 0 that can be represented?
8.
R. See? Now much faster, right? R, yes or no?
R, yeah.
Yes, R is 1.333. That is the minimum voltage that can be represented.
This man keeps saying you can't represent that without error.
Yeah, you can represent this without error because when you run this, there's no running error. That's why there's no error.
1.33.
Yeah, 1.333 all three.
So you can represent that without no error.
Yes,
And what it would be.
that will be 1.
That's what I just said. You keep taking off
1
1.33.
is, I said 1.33 volt equals 1 unitless. You confuse with this 6 and this 8. This 6 is unit of R, so we can only say 6R. This 8 is,
volts.
yes. So this 6 is this 8, but they refer to the same thing, but they are not in different, they are in different units.
Units.
This 6 is, see, this one, all this equals 6 what? 6R. But this 8 is 8 of volt of here, this one. Feel better? So the minimum you can represent is 1 watt, 1 R,
R.
not 1 volt. In our example, R equals 1.3333 volt, so that equals 1.33.
So what's the next highest thing you can represent?
2 R. And 3 R's.
I was just gonna argue that. If you would have said 8, I was gonna say, what about 2R?
Any questions on this?
Nah, we good.
So feel better?
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question.
No.
If you form a study group, you should discuss like this. Right? Make this argue a lot, then make this much better.
And you gotta have somebody in charge, though, if you know how to study you.
Yeah, if you have questions that cannot argue with, you cannot have agreement, you ask me, right?
Alright.
If you can discuss questions, every question should be discussed like this, then I guarantee if you want to, for example, go for an interview, no one can beat you. If they ask you questions, you can talk to them. So it looks like if you go like this, you know everything here. What is this 6? What is this 8? Are they the same thing? Yes, they are the same thing. You can say 6 equals 8, but actually 6 equals 8. Right? So, does that make sense? For example, when you explain to a little kid, you said, okay, for example, 6 equals 110. Right? You know what we are talking about, right? You got 6 equals 110.
Oh yeah, I know
No problem.
Yeah.
But we know there's some convention here. But the kid said, what do you mean 6 equals 110? No way, you cannot understand. You know this. Same thing here, right? Try to understand everything here, then you're going to feel better. As I said, when you test in the homework, nothing new, no surprise. Everything is discussed in class. Maybe you just need to spend some more time to watch the videos, study the slide, discuss with your friend, ask me questions. Right? Surprises so far in this class looks like who asked me questions in office hours? No, not you. 0, right? No one asked me any questions about this. Okay. So you feel good about how to convert a PCM code in this way and back way also? Back way is like a pathfinder in this way. In the homework, I let you go this way. Right? Now we know the maximum error is maximum possible error is how much? 0.5 R. Eh? What is the minimum value other than 0 can be represented? R. So we define signal to quantization error ratio. Right? So that is called SQR. So SQR, signal to quantization error ratio, like FNR, signal to noise ratio. This is signal to quantization error ratio. This is a variable because the error varies from 0 to 0.5, right? So at the worst case, because the error, the maximum is equals to R. So when the signal is the smallest, we get the worst case, right? So the smallest signal other than 0, we do not consider 0, is R. We already know that. So this one will be equal to 2. R over half R equals 2. Signal is R, the error is half R, so that equals 2. 1 divided by half equals 2. Make sense? Lost again? Yes or no? The maximum error is always a half R, right? The signal to noise, the signal to a quantization error ratio, this part is always here. We do not change. And we want this one to be the smallest, means the worst. So we need to choose the smallest signal, other than 0. Right? 0 is trivial, you do not use 0. So the smallest, we already mentioned it over there. The smallest can be represented by this R is R. So this one equals 2. Question on that? Is that hard to understand? No, right? It's 2. Right? 2 SQR, like FNR. We use dBs. So how many dBs is this? That's the first chapter. Okay? Now you do not calculate. Tell me how many dBs is this? 2 is how many dB? 6 dB, right? Take the log and then times 20 because we are talking about voltage, right? What is the best? Where we can take the best SQR? The Q is still the same, half R. The best is when the signal is the largest, right? The largest is just 2 to the n. Minus 1 or not, that doesn't matter, right? So we assume n is large. So that one will be equal to 2 to the n minus 1. Right? So that will be 2 to the n minus 1.
15R.
In this example, 15R. 15 over 15. This 15 divided by 2, then divided by half R. So that equals 15. Right? So that is the best. And we convert this one into dB. So this one will be okay, now this one is gone, right? We ignore this. So take the log base 10, 2 to the n times 20, right? So you calculate this one. This one will be equals approximately equals 6 n. So that is the best case. So in this example, what is the best signal to noise ratio? Signal to quantization error ratio? How many dB is this? In this example? How many dBs?
6 dB.
Huh?
8 dB.
8 dB? How did you get 8 dB?
Okay.
The best case is 6n. What is it?
In dB?
What? 24. How difficult is that? Right? N equals 4. So it's 24 dB. That means the maximum signal divided by the maximum quantization error, which equals half R, equals something, equals 15 or something, okay, equals 24 dB in this case. Okay? The next concept is called dynamic range. The dynamic range is the ratio of the maximum signal divided by the minimum signal. For example, if you have analog audio system at home, you can increase the volume to somewhere. You can, okay, there's a not high definition, there's a distortion, right? That case, at that time you stop. That is the maximum power or the maximum volume you can output from your system without any distortion, without some distortion you can hear. That makes sense? That is maximum power. What is the minimum power? You turn down the volume to small until you cannot hear. At that point, that is the minimum power that can be output. Right? Use the maximum divided by the minimum. That ratio is called dynamic range. That gives us the quality of your device. For example, if your device is very good, then even very small signals you can still, for example, amplifiers still can amplify. Even large signals can still amplify without any distortion. So that dynamic range will be large, right? So dynamic range will be equal to the maximum over the minimum. In our example here, what is the dynamic range in the PCM? The maximum is 2 to the n minus 1, right? You may say, okay, this is in R, okay, in R. The minimum is what?
1R.
1R, right? So 1R, so R is gone. This one is the dynamic range. This good? The maximum signal divided by the smallest signal other than 0, right? That one is called dynamic range because this one. Oh, this one exactly equals the best FQR. So this one equals this.
Oh,
Okay, next one is called line speed. What is line speed? Once we get this PCM code, this one is only 1, right? We said when t equals 1 second. For this one here, how many samples, how many of these procedures should we do in 1 second? For this example, in each second, how many this procedure should we do?
At least 200.
At least 200, right? At least 200. Right? So then we, in each second, for example, we just do 200. And for each sample, we have a 4 bit. Then all this packed in a series, we transmit through a communication channel. And that is the speed that we need to transmit in each second. That is called line speed. So line speed equals the samples per second. In this one, I said 200 or maybe more, depends on the requirement. Then times the bits per sample. In each sample, we have how many bits, right? And in each second, we have how many samples. So these two multiplied together is called the line speed. Question on this definition? Okay, now what is the line speed for here?
Is what?
What is the line speed for this one? Don't worry, if you're tired, we have video later time, you can spend more time. Right? What is the line speed for this example?
200 times 4. So
This one equals 200 times 4, so equals 800. What is the unit? Line speed. That means bit per second. So if you want to transmit that properly, your line communication channel need to be able to transmit 800 bits per second.
Okay, where you get the 200 from? I know where you got the 4 from.
200, I already asked you here, right? If you want to correctly reconstruct how many these procedures should you do in each second, 200. How you get 200? Because this is 100, so you need to double this at least.
Yeah, you been said that.
Okay, any questions? So follow, all right? Don't skip any. You skip, then you cannot catch up. So any question on this? Okay, let's see. You don't use a CD anymore, right? You use the MP3. Okay, so suppose you have a CD. 1 hour of music you need to pack in the CD. What is the capacity of the CD? Anyone knows? Like 650 or 700 megabyte, right? How do you know that number? How do we know we need to use that storage? For the 1 hour of music, we use a 2-channel stereo. Right? So we have a 2-channel. What is the sampling frequency? That means in each second, how many samples do you have?
44.
44.1. 44.1 pair. That is how many samples in each second. And we use 16-bit for PCM code. So times 16. And we have a left and right 2 channels. So times 2. So that is the line speed. In each second, you are going to transmit this number of bits. Right? Then times 1 hour, which equals 3600 seconds, and this one gives us 5.08 something gigabit.
Great.
Right? And this one we are converted into byte. How to convert this one into byte? Divided by 8. So that one equals 635 megabyte. Right? So that is very close to the CD disk capacity. So that's how we get this.
Yeah, 635.
So the music can be a little bit longer or shorter than 1 hour. So this one is changed. But usually, if you buy a black one, that will be like 700, somehow 650.
Now they got 2 gigs now.
2 gig, 4 gig, that is a DVD. Right? DVD, they have used videos. They have different schemes.
Oh,
This
they
is
got the sound now for like the CDs.
okay, any question on this one? How to calculate the line speed? You understand the concept. That one is simple. Right? In each second, you have how many samples to process, right? And in each sample, you are going to have how many bits for the PCM. So these two multiplied together give us the line speed. Right? for example, maybe in the homework, I ask you, for example, in the telephone line, you are going to have, you multiply, you have several pair of course packed together, and you just multiply by that number. If this one, suppose, for example, we want to transmit this through a communication channel, we want to know the bandwidth of the channel. So what bandwidth is needed to transmit this capacity? And we have a theory here. We don't want to discuss why, but I just the bandwidth, the transmission bandwidth equals n times b hertz. So this is the bandwidth of the channel. This is the transmit bit here. So in this example, this one will be equals 800. And this one is the n, and this one is the b, is the bandwidth of the channel. So if you have this one, you want to transmit, the bandwidth of the channel need to be like 200 hertz for this example. It's very pretty low. Any questions? No more questions? Is everything good? Okay, the homework is on the website, so you can look for. Again, I strongly encourage you to discuss with your classmates with me. So try to understand what we discussed in class. And not do some problem, always keep in mind, we have done that in class or in the slide. No surprise. Okay, thank you.
So you say